Today is July 1st, 2024, and my company, Diamond Academy, officially turns 4 years old today, and we're in the podcast studio recording. And so I thought, what a better place and time to talk about what this 4 years has been, what has happened, how I've grown and developed, but what are some key learnings and takeaways from this business. And it's not necessarily just related to business, but life lessons that I've learned through growing this beautiful empire that is Diamond Academy and now House of Manifestation as well. So in January of 2020, when I launched my coaching business, I actually started it as a sole proprietorship. So it was just Kathleen Cameron was the name of the company, and that was it. And I thought, that's where I was going to go with it. But very, very quickly, I started building a community. I started building this lifestyle, this sense of more. And it became very, very evident that I actually wanted to create something that was not just my name, but that was something in addition to the individual that I was and the community, the lifestyle that I would be creating. And so when I first came up with the language of Diamond Academy, many people ask me this. No one's asked me recently, actually, but I used to get this question a lot. Where did the name Diamond Academy come from? And so I knew I wanted to create a company, a community that would bring like-minded individuals together. And I wanted it to be, and I call it an unconventional educational institution. So I say that I'm like a university, but not in the formal sense. So that's why I use the language unconventional. So that's where the word academy came from. Because I'm like, you know what? I want people to feel like they're joining an academy. They're joining a school where they can go to better themselves. And the diamond thing was actually part of the manifestation, because when I first started my coaching business alongside Bob Proctor, he had levels of recognition that you could earn. And I'm a very powerful manifestor. And one of the things that I always do is that I assume that the desire that I want is already completed, and I act in the assumption that I am already that person or that version or that rank, whatever it was. So at the time, the top level of recognition that you could earn in Bob's organization was a diamond pin. Launched my coaching business, decided to create Diamond Academy, and I wasn't even silver pin at that time. I wasn't even at the first rank in his organization, let alone the diamond rank. But what's so powerful about that was that I saw myself as a diamond. I saw myself as already accomplishing that. So of course I would name my company Diamond Academy to represent just the power behind manifestation. And it allowed me to assume the identity of being that diamond pin holder. But the diamond also has a lot of other interesting qualities and things that mean a lot to me in this journey as well. You know, diamonds are beautiful and they are stunning, but they haven't always looked that way. They haven't always appeared to shine so bright. You know, they might be a little bit dull or they might be hidden. And I really love the thought of all of us being this beautiful, perfect diamond, and coming into this work allows you to let the true diamond within be seen and to shine and step into your beauty. A diamond also to me represents a certain level of wealth and expansion, and it represents a feeling. Even, you know, me wearing this beautiful diamond ring on my hand, that was very intentional. It makes me feel a certain way, and it's all about how you feel in this journey. So that's where the Diamond Academy name originated from. And still to this day, we welcome people to our community, to our Diamond Academy family. And we, for short form, we call it DA. For anybody who hears that, we say welcome to DA or to Diamond Academy. We also call it our Diamond family. And even members of our community that, you know, if we have a new baby born in our community, we welcome the new diamond baby. If we have a wedding, we say we're going to a diamond wedding. It's just become part of our lifestyle and our energy, and I'm super, super grateful. But what's really powerful about these past 4 years, honestly, has been the woman that I've become in the past 4 years in building this beautiful business. For those of you that are going to ask me, okay, so what has happened in the past 4 years? What has been the business growth and success? I will say we have quantum leaped time and time again. And, we're just about, if we're not at 30 million in revenue in 4 years, we must be just about there. But we've served over 100,000 people in our live events. We have over 2,500 students in our community at any one time. And I have a beautiful inner circle. I think we have 16 individuals now that work very closely with me and in person and in my inner circle who are expanding and growing. And many are on their way to becoming billionaires alongside me, which is really beautiful. But what's so cool about the creation of Diamond Academy is that it has taught me some incredible, powerful life lessons that I want to share a little bit with you guys today in this podcast episode. And I'm going to be really honest about some of the things that have happened and where the learning and the growth has come from. I think sometimes we watch people's lives on social media and we see all the wins and the celebrations, and we see all the ways in which people are living their best life. And we watch it and we think that they must not have problems. They must not have experienced negativity. There hasn't been contrast. It doesn't appear to be that way. And I never want to teach people that, especially as a steward of this work. I know that I have influence, and the messages that I share are meaningful and they are powerful and people listen. And so I don't want to send a message that says, look at me live my best life 24/7 and never ever experience any rawness or trueness or contrast, and have you think that that's truth or reality, because then the moment you experience some darkness or some contrast or a bump in the road, you're gonna be like, oh gosh, why am I experiencing this? Kathleen didn't. I don't want anybody to think that that's the way it is. So today I'm gonna be honest and raw and vulnerable about a few things along this journey that I have learned that I think will serve you in your journey of entrepreneurship, if that's the path that you decide to take. The first thing that I want to talk about is the importance of relationships. But the biggest thing is the importance of allowing relationships to change over your journey. And I know for me, I was somebody that in my past, I wanted people so badly to like me and to think positively of me. And I wanted my relationships to stay in my life as long as I could. So, we sometimes talk about, oh, they've been my friend for 30 years, or, this person's been in my life for this long in this way, or I've been with Kathleen for this many years. And it becomes something to be proud of, which is amazing. But on the flip side of that, then, if the relationship only lasted 2 years, or it lasted 20 years, but then the relationship ended, we have some kind of feeling about it. And so for me, one of the biggest learnings, and just listen to what I'm going to say here, is that I allow people to move in and out of my life. And so somebody who wanted to be a people pleaser and wanted everybody to like her and wanted to keep relationships intact, to fight people leaving your life is actually where a lot of the suffering happens. So I don't want you to be mad at me. I don't want you to dislike me. I don't want you to leave. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make you stay, to keep you here, so that I still feel liked. And so I still feel validated and I still feel credible. And that actually doesn't serve anyone. There is a time when a relationship is no longer in alignment. It's out of resonance. And I love the word resonance. It makes me think about when things are aligned and they're resonant with one another, they feel good, they sound good. But when things move out of resonance or they become misaligned, this is where we start to see things like conflict happen. We start to see misunderstandings. We start to see miscommunications. And can a relationship truly thrive when we're out of resonance? And it's not to say that a relationship has to be gone forever, but there is an opportunity that when the misalignment happens, to allow each other to go your own ways, to grow and to learn, and to hopefully come back into resonance or alignment again in another day and time. And that's also possible. but we're fighting so hard to keep people. We're fighting so hard to have our relationships stay the way that they are, that we're not actually in that flow state. I remember there was a specific relationship in my life. It was a business relationship, and I'm a very, very loving person, very caring person. And when you are in business with me, you become a friend, you become a family member. You know, I truly treat everyone like they're the most important person in my life. So when a business relationship changes, and it's no longer there anymore, I'm also feeling the feeling of the friendship being gone and the love being gone. You know, what does this mean? Am I losing a family member, et cetera, et cetera? But what I've really realized in this one specific example I'm going to tell you was that I was fighting them leave the business because I felt like it would mean something about me negatively. That I wasn't able to keep people happy, or what I didn't do enough, that it made me look some kind of way. And I realized that it's not actually about that. It's about being in resonance or in alignment. And we became misaligned, and that is okay. And so I never forget, I write myself little love notes when you stay at a hotel, they have the notepads next to the bed, and with a beautiful pen. And I always write myself little love notes there. I'm like, what is this for? I'm going to create a love note. So I write myself little messages all the time. But this one night I wrote down, Kathleen, let people flow in and out of your life. If somebody wants to go, let them go. If it's time for them to go, then, allow that relationship to move. And that little awareness for me has been one of the greatest learnings in business, because the people that you started your business with are not going to be the people that you're going to be working with 4 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. Yeah, I would absolutely love to have people stay with me along the entire trajectory of this business, but to expect that that is going to be the case doesn't allow for individual free will and choice and the growth and development of every single individual within my organization. And so there will be a time where people are ready to go. And so when they are ready to go, I no longer fight it, and I allow. And that has been such a beautiful learning for me and beautiful growth. And I really hope that helps you to realize that if they are truly meant to be in your life, they will make their way back. And there has been so many people in my life that have left for a while and that have come back. And I'm grateful, because when we allow them to go, they can do the work that they desire to do, and then they can come back into resonance. And so I truly have faith and believe that. But the other thing that happens when you're in business as well is, especially if you're a big thinker like me, I always say that I'm a visionary. I love to cast big vision. I don't cast little, I think maybe we could do this type of goals. I like to cast big visions. And so I've used this analogy before, you might have heard it, but I do feel like, because sometimes my visions are so big, that when I'm climbing the mountain, there's some people that just lose oxygen along the way. So they get a little bit tired, they want to sit down, they want to rest. And sometimes people don't want to go as big or to be as in the future as I necessarily am. And that's okay. It's not wrong and it's not bad. Everyone gets to choose their journey and where they want to be on the journey. And so I just cast a vision, I inspire, and then those that want to ascend with me will ascend beautifully. This year is a beautiful example of this. I actually sat down and thought to myself, where in my belief system am I limiting my team? Where have I not allowed myself to see my team in an even bigger way? And I noticed that even the expectations I had for them, the metrics or the KPIs that I set for my team, some business language there, weren't big enough. It wasn't casting a big enough vision for them. And so I went to my team at the beginning of the year and I apologized for them. I apologized to them for not thinking big enough for them, for not seeing further along than what they could see for themselves first. And I said, effective immediately, those KPIs are going up. And what's really cool, what happened was we had people who were like, I am here for it, let's go. I'm going to rise to the challenge of becoming the next iteration. of me to be able to meet those metrics, Kathleen. And then others said, okay, no, I'm good. I'm ready to go. And so we had a beautiful ascension of those that wanted to continue to climb the mountain with me. And then we had those that were, you know what, I don't think I really want to climb this mountain, to say, okay, I wish you all the best and you could go climb your own mountain now in the way that feels good for you. So this idea of relationships flowing in and out of your life will help you to be in that flow state, that beautiful manifestation flow state of allowing. Is where we really want to be. So maybe consider some of your relationships in your life and how that can best support you in your business. The other topic that I really want to talk about, of course, is health. So these past 4 years have been the greatest learning of my life related to my physical vessel. And I am a woman who used to work really, really hard. And I never took any breaks. I never rested. I never allowed myself to have fun and joy. And I didn't listen to my body. So if I was sick, I would still go to work. And I remember my parents, when I was growing up, when I was a little girl, like I had to be like in the hospital to not go to school. Like they were really, really strict that like, nope, you're going to school no matter what. So I learned that you just show up no matter what. Even if you're sick, you're just going to suck it up, get into your bed after if you need to. One of the greatest parts about my business and why I've been able to quantum leap it is because I direct source energy through my thinking. But that means that I need to be in a very, very spiritual state, a calm state, nervous system relaxed. I want to make sure that I feel inspired, that I feel lit up, that I perceive my oneness. But if I'm in the hustle and the grind and the go, 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 I find that it pulls me out of that state. I even feel in my third eye some tension or some buildup in there if I'm too much into the masculine. So what I have found for me is this beautiful balance of the masculine energy and showing up for my business. And yes, I am disciplined. Yes, I am consistent. Yes, I am committed. We're here recording the podcast today and it's booked in my calendar and I show up and I do it. But it's also very important for me to incorporate rest and spiritual practices and noticing and paying attention to my body. So many of you probably already know the story of my lung surgery. And what was so challenging about that time was that spiritually, because I was in so much pain, I wasn't able to perceive and be aware of my oneness as much. I was more in my human, in the ego. And it had me start to doubt myself. It moved me into a place of fear. And so I have learned now that the ways in which I keep myself in that elevated spiritual perspective, I keep myself up in that love, joy, bliss, passion, possibility state, is to take care of myself. And that means to fuel my body nutritiously. It means to make sure that I get 9 to 10 hours of sleep at night if I can. It means that I'm not going to overwork myself. I'm not going to stress myself out. It means that I'm going to incorporate rest and recovery into my life. So things like going to the spa, they've become a practice for me, a business practice, to allow me to stay up in that source energy state where I'm tapped in, I'm tuned in, and I'm guiding and directing source through who I am being. And so I can feel now when my body starts to say, Kathleen, it's time for you to rest. It's time for you to take a couple of days. It's time for you to slow down. And the past version of me, especially when I first started my social media business like 5 years ago, that version of me would have posted anyway. Would have been like, oh, I got to get a post up today. I've got to keep my stories up. I got to get this reel up, and I would have pushed because I thought I had to. But now you may notice, if you do follow me, that there might be a couple days I don't post anything. There might be a day where my stories is just a couple things instead of my whole life story on there. And what I'm actually doing is I'm paying attention to the cadence of how I feel like showing up and listening to that instead of what I think I have to do. And I also understand that the more that I try to force, the more that I try to push, the more I'm actually moving out of that rest state and I'm moving into that exhaustion state, that burnout state. And that is not anywhere that I want to be. So I know the sustainability of my business depends upon my own physical health status. You know, people say health is wealth. I always say, well, no, I think they're two separate things, and I want health and wealth. So I want to tap into both those things. And I know that being my healthiest is going to allow me to be my wealthiest and to enjoy the wealth while I have it. So that would be probably my second biggest learning, would be the importance of rest and recovery and health in building your business and your entrepreneurship journey. But the third thing, not a lot of people want to talk about this, but I think it's so important that we do, is that your business is not forever and ever, every single day going to be getting better the next day after the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day. There is going to be fluctuations in business. And when you allow yourself to be in a flow state, in a responsive state, not a reactive state, and allow yourself to go with the flow of the law of rhythm in business, this will help you immensely. So my business, yes, has been on an upward trajectory, and where we sit today is probably, you know, the highest upward trajectory that it's been. But last year wasn't necessarily just going up and up and up and up and up. There's actually been ups and then downs, and then ups and then downs, and then times where it felt like maybe it was on a plateau or things were just staying the same. But it's to understand that 95% of the manifestation work is done in the invisible plane. It's done behind the scenes. And so for me, I know that if I had a really great month last month and this month is a little bit less, then I just go, okay, well, that's the law of rhythm at play, of course. You know, we have this rhythm of our life. Our heart beats according to this rhythm. The sun goes up and down according to this rhythm. Our lung breath is in and out according to this rhythm. The economy is up and down according to this rhythm. So why would I think my business isn't going to have a rhythm? It actually doesn't make any sense. So over the past 4 years, I have had amazing, incredible months that have been followed by months that have had a little bit lower. And my ability to be non-reactive, to not create a story, to not say, oh no, we're going backwards, what do I do? Has been the greatest ability for me to continue to build this business now and to allow it to fluctuate. The other thing too is I keep becoming a different version of myself, which demands something different in the business. And so we launch new things, we create new programs, we rewrite things. And as you do that, you're going to have to let things go. Things are going to have to move. They're going to have to change. And, you know, like at one point, my entire team changed quickly within a matter of like a couple of months. And if I had been the version of myself beforehand that was more reactive, that wasn't in this material as much and didn't appreciate rhythms, I would have been like, oh no, what just happened? What are we going to do? How am I going to recover from this? And there would have been a story behind it. But there wasn't a story for me because I sat back and I went, okay, what would be the best possible scenario that could happen next? That my team left so that a new team could come in that is meant to support me in the next iteration. And that's exactly what happened. So it is about that making space, making room, allowing for the fluctuations to come. But I always know that everything always returns to great. And that is the underlying belief that I have about Diamond Academy, that I have about my business, is that it is greatness in the making. And it has always been incredible. It's getting better every single day. And no matter what, it always returns to great. And I love this business. Everything about it, I do it with love. I sell with love. I teach with love. I lead with love. I listen with love. Every post I make on social media, I do it with love. And because of that, how much love I have for this business, this company, and every single person that's a part of it is what is allowing it to have this beautiful energy and this beautiful power. And after 4 years, to think about just how many lives have been impacted through the power of love, it's just really, really beautiful. So if you aren't absolutely in love with your business, with yourself, with what you do, with your team, with the results that you're having in your business, I hope that you're hearing the message to let a little bit more love into your life and into your business. And please remember that the limit does not exist.